Hello everybody, I'm Mike, he's Byron.
Hello.
I'm in slightly less pain today because I had a nice massage for my back and I got some painkillers which I'm about to take, but figured I should be lucid for this.
Lucid's not always the best way to do it.
And Byron's going to kind of lead the show here today because I just don't have a ton to say.
Such a negative Nancy with all of the drugs and the heroin.
And hang on a sec, something's going off in the background sound-wise. That is now muted. Okay, Byron, take us into 205 Live.
205 Live, we had Corey Graves and Corey Graves Light on commentary.
Good old Vic Joseph.
I really, honestly...
Joseph Graves.
At a distance, you really couldn't tell them apart.
Corey's a little more streamlined.
That is very possible. It's not a ton to say about 205 Live. It was standard. Davari's gimmick really isn't that good, and I'm not really sure why they have him just referencing a different Iranian champion.
It's just a Iranian pride deal. I'm actually kind of digging it because it's at least a different type of foreign heel gimmick.
Yeah, I can see that, but my question is that if he's bigging up all of these traditional wrestling champions, why isn't he wrestling like that? Why? What is his wrestling style anyway? I can't really figure it out.
Kind of a mix of ground tactics and high flying.
It's pretty generic.
Oh, there's anything like eye-catching about it. He's just very competent.
Yeah,
unfortunately, they've taken any of the aerial elements away from his game with the signing in WWE, and he doesn't really wrestle in an amateur sense either. He just kind of does power moves.
So I'm not really sure why he's referencing these great Iranian champions if he's not in, he does not fit that mold. And
because the American people do not know one Iranian from another.
The American people don't know an Iranian from a Frenchman, so that's where that stands.
I didn't say it was good, I'm just saying. Because Vince McMahon said so is the answer to this.
Yeah, so, whatever. The very wrestled and match. It was very boring. Brian Kendrick was boring. Brad Gallagher actually came out and let's come on and have a go if you think you're hard enough, and he was probably the best part of the
storyline. Didn't make a lot of sense to begin with, and it's coming to make less and less sense.
Correct.
Because at least when Kendrick was trying to teach Tozawa a lesson, he was willing to fight him.
Yes. So this is garbage. Why are they wasting Jack Gallagher's time? Just put him on the British show that should have been out 6 months ago, because you're also wasting Tyler Bates' time and Pete Dunne's time. So quit fucking around. Then to cap off the show, we had the TJP Tony Nese versus Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander-Riffen, and it was an match. Tony Nese did a really good job. I'm liking Nese more and more, and he was kind of the weak link in this whole shenanigans, so it's working out quite nicely for him. Yeah. Cedric Alexander needs to get his fucking music changed because no one cares about you.
I actually enjoyed the TJ Perkins versus Cedric Alexander elements of the match. They got me up.
Yeah, indeed. Rich Swann... I think I will probably be always on the fence with Rich Swann because he's very one note. His face doesn't ever change. He's always got that weird goofy grin no matter what happens.
I think that's supposed to... he was, even before coming to WWE, a goofy guy. That is a thing. But I think WWE has been like, no, people like you is goofy, so you must always be goofy.
Yes.
See that look on your face right now? That's the look. Just all the time, 100% of the time.
The Tony Nese bicycle sit-up kick routine, that's getting better. He's tightening that up. I'm liking that. And it was honestly, with this much wrestler in the ring with these four guys, I expect a much better match. But they're not allowed to because they're, wrestling.
Yep. I did really enjoy the Neville promo at the beginning. It's kind of a different promo from him. Like, still very much in the same character, but a slightly different side of the character. He's not even really offended that Daivari is trying to get his title. It's just kind of like, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not... I don't know. They just don't seem to let them do any actual wrestling, which is weird for a wrestling show.
Well, it's kind of the thing, is if you take cruiserweights and you make them into what Raw or SmackDown is, you're not getting a good product. Because you're just getting smaller guys doing exactly what the main roster is doing, and it's less impressive because, let's face it, the only things that are really impressive on the main roster right now are big dudes.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really anything else that's really going, other than a couple of guys who are kind of allowed to wrestle their own style, looking at AJ Styles, for example. Nakamura, kinda. But, yeah, I mean... Your cruiserweights are never going to succeed if they're not different. And
correct.
They are not different.
They are not, in point of fact. I think Vince just loves big, sweaty men.
I think that's an established fact at this point. I don't think that's even supposition.
Exactly. And then directly after 205 Live, NXT was on, which isn't strictly true, but it is for the purposes of this podcast. And, they opened it up with an Ember Moon versus Lade DeTapia or something like that. I don't care. It's, what was that Aerosmith song? Lady Looks Like a Dude. This was a little off.
That's not even why I just don't like her. I've seen her work in what is now GFW. At the time was either TNA or Impact Wrestling. I was like, GFW. But she wasn't very good then. I've seen her work since. I've seen her fight MMA against Gabby Garcia as well. She's just not very good at anything.
Yeah, and she showed it.
Kind of sell savagery, and she'll take a beating. But
boy, did she show that here tonight.
Yeah, that's really the only positives I got for her.
She didn't wrestle and then took the finisher, and the match was over. And that's pretty much it. Although it did, there was a pretty stiff clothesline to open things up, followed by some stiff competition inside the ring, which I enjoyed that. But watching somebody Ember Moon, who seems to be in a continual state of ring rust, versus somebody who can't really wrestle, wasn't the best thing in the world.
I will say Ember Moon actually looked...
The fact that they worked really stiff was the only thing that saved this match.
I will say that Ember Moon did seem smoother than usual. Like, that was probably one of her better eclipses.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, granted, they weren't doing anything complex outside of the eclipse, so that probably is part of it. But it did look like there's maybe a slight step in her game to a little smoothness to it, which is a positive sign. Take it as.
Yeah, I would agree. But that's the best I've ever seen her wrestle, and that's not saying a ton. So I expect her to get hurt in a few weeks, and then she'll be back on the shelf for a few months, and then she'll have to go through the cycle again, and she'll really be ready. They'll probably keep the belt on Asuka for another 33 years because they really, really want Ember Moon to win that title, and she's never going to be healthy enough to do it.
Yeah, they booked her versus Asuka for the takeover card, which means she will get hurt.
Probably. And I mean, they've done so much awesome stuff with Asuka, with Nikki Cross and with Ruby Riott, and they had fantastic matches. And then she's going to have to wrestle way down to Ember Moon's level and drop the title so that Asuka can then go to SummerSlam, hopefully. Hey, maybe they'll do the traditional thing and hold Asuka off TV and totally kill all of her heat for like 8 months before debuting on the main roster. Who knows? We had a schmoz fest between Jobbers, the AOP, and Sanity, which turned into not a very good schmoz fest.
Yeah, I didn't really like this because at the end you had AOP being, kind of challenged by Sanity and then just kind of bowling them over. And I'm like, why do I want to see these guys have a match now?
Yeah, so...
I'd be lying if I said I was ecstatic about it to begin with, but you've got a heel-heel dynamic here. You better damn well give me a reason to watch this match.
Yeah. You had Sanity squash the Jobbers, and then you had AOP squash Sanity. It didn't make any sense. And they shouldn't have done it. And that's why Vince booked it.
Yeah, I basically like two things about this. That was Nikki Cross's facing off with Ellering in the Authors of Pain. That was good. And I liked Alexander Wolf laughing his ass off after he got beat up. And I'm just like, well, I mean, it's staying in character. He's crazy, but yeah, I'm not any more interested in this match than I was beforehand. And I think actually I'm less interested because, well, now I basically know the Authors of Pain are going over because, I mean, you've not given me any reason to believe that Sanity can beat them.
Exactly.
Which probably means Sanity is going over because WWE logic, but
Exactly. Yeah, you stood tall, therefore you're losing. Yeah. One other positive thing I can say about the ridiculous nonsense was that Alexander Wolf hit a crazy awesome German suplex, which is good because he's German, so that all ties in with his theme, his motif of Germanness.
I thought that was good as well.
Then there's a bunch of bullshit, some nonsense with Jose outside, which was kind of really
Selena
bad.
Vega.
Which, isn't that...
It's Thea Trinidad, who's engaged to Austin Aries.
There you go. Well, that's awkward. We had Velveteen Dream versus Caesar the Banana, and...
that was okay, considering both guys are really green.
Yeah, it was really... after was it the previous week or the week before, they had... when Moro first came back...
Week before, when he faced Ho-Ho Loon.
Yeah, so when Moro came back, he really put Velveteen over in a good way and kind of turned me around on Velveteen. And then the week after that, he had another match. I think it was the one against Ho-Ho Loon, which was not any good.
No. It was the Ho-Ho Loon one that you liked.
Okay.
Yeah, he faced Ho-Ho Loon, and this is his first match since then.
No, he's had one since there.
Was there one?
Yeah,
might have been
one in
against
the
some
middle.
jobber then.
Probably, yeah.
The Raul Mendoza match, which they gave Raul Mendoza mic time. Don't do that again.
Yeah, so there was that match which wasn't any good and then kind of soured me again on Velveteen, but that one was good again, so they kind of kept it short and sweet and enjoyable, and we went from there, so I enjoyed that somewhat.
Then they have the aforementioned Mendoza promo. He's, damn it, who is he facing? Oh yeah, he's facing Johnny Gargano. And they're trying to make me care about Raul Mendoza, and it's not working.
Yeah, nobody really cares.
He just
about
got squashed by the
jobbers.
Velveteen Dream. If he goes over Gargano, I will vomit.
Are you sure that that's the same guy that was? I think you're confused on. So I do remember that, but I'm pretty sure.
Whether it's the same guy or not, I've seen Raul Mendoza do the job a number of times.
Oh,
he is a jobber. Whether he's the specific jobber we're thinking of.
I thought no, because they were hyping this as his debut. So I think it was a different guy you were talking about.
I'm pretty sure I've seen him work before. I'll look it up while you talk, but I'm pretty sure we've seen him work before.
Yeah, well, they
specifically said Raul Mendozas.
They specifically said it was his debut, so I have to assume that he has not worked in NXT before.
Let's see here, Raul Mendoza Wrestler Database. Come on, baby.
We had a Drew McIntyre promo that was pretty darn good. The guy had the whole crowd in the palm of his hands. It was awesome, and that was enjoyable. And we've sprinkled in here. We've had like 9 or 10 Aleister Black promos, which I don't understand. That guy's over as hell.
Yeah, this is not Raul Mendoza's first match in they NXT.
Said here it is. It's his
he is the guy that lost on TV to Velveteen Dream. He also lost to Killian Dane. That was a house show, mind you. But yeah, I mean he's got 2 wins in WWE. Both are over dudes who I've never seen. So
fair enough. I think I got confused because this is Johnny Gargano's first match back since whenever. So I probably got that turned around. Apparently, Bobby Roode will respond to Andrew McIntosh and Apple next week. Nobody cares. Honestly, Bobby Roode's promos are all the same, so I'm going to be skipping that.
It's pretty generic, yeah. Which is kind of weird because in Impact he actually gave me some good variants. Like I looked forward to a Bobby Roode promo, and when he came to NXT, I looked forward to it again. But since he become champion, yeah, it's the same shit over and over again. He's capable of more. I don't know why we're not really getting more.
I have no idea. Probably he doesn't want to unload all the tricks out of the bag before he hits the main roster, which should have been 6 months ago.
But should have been directly when he came in. Like he should have had. It should have been basically like, here's the thing: any talent that they sign from TNA, Impact / GFW, here's what should happen. You are sent down to the Performance Center for just a quick appraisal. Basically, you're healthy, you're ready to go. All right. Here's a couple dark matches on NXT. Bang, bang, bang. Main roster. Boom. That's how it should work.
Agreed. Well, maybe not if you're Gunner, but other than that, yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with Gunner.
Well, I don't even know who that is, so I just know the name.
He was perfectly fine. It was his partner Murphy that was fucking terrible.
Fair enough.
By the way, Murphy's real name was Michael Cole. I don't know why they didn't use it as his gimmick. That
does sound like a pretty good gimmick. I mean, not if you're an announcer, but maybe if you're a wrestler, it might work.
And next, Gunner and Michael Cole.
Yay! That'll definitely get you some headlines. To cap off the show, the main event of the evening was Cassius Hero against Hideo Kenta. And Kenta capped the match off by kicking Cassius square in his
Square in the lower peninsula.
Right in the ham and eggers.
Right below the equator.
But they worked it in a really good way because it kind of looked like maybe he might not have meant to do it.
Then he confirmed that he did when he beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah, and he just beat the absolute dog nostrils right off of Cassius. A couple of go to sleeps, slammed him into the steps. Many punches and kicks. There's a lot of kicks in this match, which I enjoyed. And general semi-stiff Japanese style working, which I always like. So I enjoyed the match. It may not be one that I ever rewatch again, but I was entertained.
It's pretty low on my totem of Chris Hero and Kenta matches. Was kind of the only problem.
Well, that's because you're a nerd.
Yes.
I'm just putting it out there.
Okay. just checking.
I enjoyed NXT overall. I could have done without some of that, but I enjoyed every time they put the mic on Velveteen Dream. He does a better job, so I'm always intrigued to see how that's going to go. His matches aren't always the most consistent, so I don't know if I'm ever going to enjoy the match that I'm watching.
He has had one particularly good match. Mm-hmm. It should be mentioned that it's also the only match he worked with a veteran worker in Ho Ho Moon. Everyone else they've given him has been jobber.
Yep.
So, I mean, the progress would be okay. We've seen him with a legitimate opponent, and it was good, mostly because of the commentary, but it was good. Mm-hmm. And he's getting better on the mic, so I would say this is all pretty positive.
I would indeed. I would say he's probably usually taking 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back. It's progress. It's not meteoric.
I wish they would get him away from working with guys like Raul Mendoza and Cesar Bonomi, and particularly, I mean, no disrespect to Bonomi, because I think there's something there actually with that guy. But if you want to develop him, it's time to take that next step. Like we put him in there with Moon, and it was a good match. Let's put him in there with someone else who is a decent hand and see what happens.
Yeah, let him work a match against Roderick Strong. Let him work a match against.
I wouldn't go to up to a Roddy level, just because
I just want to see it.
I would want to give him another win, and I wouldn't want to give him a win over Roddy. So I'd have to look at the NXT roster, but you got to have someone who has some experience who he can get the W over, see if that's a solid match, and then you can progress to Roddy Strong.
Set him up against Bobby Roode. It'll be good.
No, it's not Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode, baby.
But, NXT it's a bit of a weird place, and it's always going to be because it's developmental, but just some of the guys who end up there for both reasons is kind of weird. Either guys who are, I don't know why you are here because I don't know why WWE really has any interest in you. See Raul Mendoza. Mm-hmm. And there are guys that are there that shouldn't be there because I'm like, you should be on the main roster. Like Bobby Roode, Roderick Strong, Drew McIntyre. Although McIntyre apparently wanted to go there. So
yeah,
I'm okay with that. I mean, if you want to be there, you want to be there. But Eric Young, Bobby Roode, Roderick Strong, like these are well-traveled veterans. Roddy Strong, okay, fine enough. He's like been an independent wrestler, so maybe give him like a 2-month stint on there just to get him used to TV crowds and the kind of WWE way of doing things. But yeah, anyone coming from a large enough company that has a regular TV deal should just main roster it. Give them a couple dark matches just to appraise them, and then boom, there you go.
I would agree. Oh, apparently it's Triple H's birthday today.
Hell, actually, Bobby Roode and Eric Young even signed at roughly the same time, so you just have them work like a house show program, then they like, bam, there you go.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't really need these guys to do anything other than to just go to the front.
Because you desperately need some guys on the main roster, because particularly with the women's division, it's been particularly bad, which is why I don't know why Asuka isn't up there. I don't know why Nikki Cross isn't up there. I don't know why Ruby Riott isn't up there. Hell, even the Aussies could be up there, because you are out of people, like, especially, and that's the other frustration with these multi-women matches that they've been doing on, to a degree, Raw and definitely on SmackDown, is you have burned out any real feuds you have, because I've kind of seen it all now.
Yeah, it's not fantastic, and quite boring.
And the men's division isn't particularly better.
It's just lazy booking. Apparently, 90,000 writers plus Vince are not enough to actually book a female division. So they should. Well,
I think the problem there is not even the writers, really. To be clear, I think it's the writers write what Vince McMahon wants, or at least what they think Vince McMahon wants, because that's the only way, apparently, to guarantee your job for any particular length of time. So, effectively, they don't have an army of writers. They have an army of men going, what does Vince want? Oh, he doesn't like women, right? Oh, okay, I can do something terribly misogynistic.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a giant waste. Why would they even bother? Just hire one guy. It's
that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the irony, is that when there was a small writing staff, the Vince Russo era, and to be clear, I am not a fan of Vince Russo.
Vince Russo on a pole match.
But things kind of got done because Vince Russo knew that if this goes over well, man, I can take the credit for it, and if it doesn't go over well, I'm going to deflect on Ed Ferrara, and that's how this is going to work.
There you go.
So, in a nutshell, you had people who were going to come up with creative ideas to actually, not just what Vince McMahon wants. Because you either had people like Russo, who's a master of, it's not my fault, man, I'll just get past the buck. Or you had guys like Jim Cornette, who frankly probably didn't care if they were fired or not.
Fire Russo. So that's the recap on the WWE main shows. Don't get confused with those crappy Raw and SmackDown B shows. Make sure you're watching the 205 Live. And
the other problem with 205 Live, I must say, is, and I probably have gone over this before, it's that it's being filmed after 2 hours of SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And we're again with the problem that, okay, so I'm a SmackDown fan. I'm sitting in the arena. I bought my ticket for 2 hours of SmackDown. I've seen my favorite stars, whoever they happen to be. Maybe I'm a big Jinder Mahal fan. I don't know. And I'm sitting there, and then they come out and they do the old purple ropes and everything, and then I get 205 guys. Okay. Problem is, number one, I don't know who most of these guys are, to be honest. Number two, why would you, if you're not a big 205 Live fan, why would you know who Tony Nese is? Probably know who TJP is. You probably know who Rich Swann is. You probably know who Cedric Alexander is, for example, because two of them have been champions, and Alexander was on a prominent Raw feud, and you probably watch Raw. but you don't know who Tony Nese is, so you're not really caring about that. And on top of this, a little tired after a 2-hour show. You're a little lacking in energy. You've had the crescendo of SmackDown in theory, when it is good. And you're being asked to sit there for another hour of guys you don't really know, do exactly what you've already seen, but without the emotional connection.
Yeah.
And the crowd is dead. So
also, why are they giving away free shows? Vince isn't making any money off this because he's not selling tickets. Give 205 Live its own show in its own building on its own time.
Well, you could also use the NXT building. And you can have
extra fucking revenue.
I mean, you could even just do it at Full Sail. That would totally work.
Maybe.
Yeah. I would also suggest an all-women show at some point because, like, you could bring the women on to Raw and SmackDown. Don't get me wrong, but the drastic lack of, I mean, think about it. You have, 12 women on the main roster? Maybe 14?
Yeah. About there, yeah.
Yeah. Like, how is that supposed to be a division?
I do not know.
Champion makes 6 title defenses, like, and I have beaten you all! It's kind of like at that point, like on SmackDown, because, I mean, who has Naomi not beaten? Basically, you got Charlotte.
I don't think she's beaten actually anybody, because she doesn't ever defend her title.
Well, she beat Lana. I think she's got to win over Becky Lynch in the mix there.
Ooh, she beat Lana on Lana's debut fucking match.
Like, okay, so she's got to beat, like, Tamina, and she's got to beat Carmella, which probably will happen, because I don't think they're going to put the belt on her. I hope not.
No, they're putting the belt. They will absolutely have to put the belt on the worst wrestler on the roster, because they gave her the Money in the Bank twice, even though her boyfriend won it. And if they don't, then the female Money in the Bank means shit. It doesn't. There's no reason to compete for it because precedent says you're not going to win the title anyway.
I think at one, you're not really on the precedent. Like, had the first. Now, to be clear, I think the first winner should win. Perfect world. But the first winner shouldn't have been Carmella. I would have accepted Becky, Natty, or Charlotte. The other 3 in the match, or the other 2. This is a 5-way match, right? Yeah, 5-way match.
Might have been a 19-way.
Yeah, I have no interest in seeing Tamina compete in the main event. Like, that's the problem, is, like, all of these women are in the main event, and it just makes them look that much worse. Like, including, like, Lana, for example, who should probably be given some time to get comfortable and work her way up. She's better than I expected her to be, but there are problems with her in-ring talent.
What?
Which they're not helping by making, like, accentuating them because they're idiots. Paul Heyman. Bits, talk to Paul Heyman. He's there every Monday night, guys. He's there every Monday night. Just talk to him.
Yeah, he's kind of good at his job, and kind of good at your job, too, so...
Well, I mean, he was bad at elements of his job, mostly the financial planning elements.
Yeah.
But from a creative standpoint, dude understood that you maximize the strength, minimize the weakness, and they are doing the absolute opposite with Milana. And to be honest, they're kind of doing the absolute opposite with Tamina in a lot of ways. Like, they keep putting her on the mic. I'm like, she's bad on the mic. Just, she needs the mouthpiece. Lana does not need Tamina to be her mouthpiece. Lana should be Tamina's mouthpiece.
Correct. And I enjoy her mouthpiece.
Dirty.
Indeed.
Don't ever hear you saying that.
Well, you know, I can run faster scared than he can angry, so...
I don't know about that. Although, mind you, the flag match indicates this is probably true.
Yes, I anticipate that he has poor climbing skills and not good cardio to be able to climb up inclined objects, so I'm going to go run up some hills and climb a tree.
Yeah. So that's basically the frustration of WWE is, to be honest, it's not even really match quality, it's just... Which is frustrating, but like the biggest... For me,
it's mostly match quality. If you can have the shittiest storylines in the world, as long as you're having great matches, I'll fucking watch.
Yeah, well, you're never getting that. And I'm not even talking about storylines, though. I just want to see people used in a semi-proper manner. Like, you are paying these people. Do you not want payoff? Like, there's a lot of ways to get payoff with Lana that don't involve what you're doing. Because what you're doing doesn't have a payoff.
Correct.
So, Yeah, and that, I think, bleeds over to 205, and then, I think we largely covered that NXT will sometimes be good and then sometimes be bad, and that is the nature of the beast. And I accept that, because you got to give guys like the Velveteen Dream time to develop and get some TV time in, and it's not always going to be good. So,
when in doubt, always trust in Regal.
I always trust in Regal. By the way, Regal, greatest authority figure, because when he shows up, shit is going down. That's just all there is to it.
Shit's going to happen.
Yeah. He's there to make shit happen. That's it. He's there to make an important announcement, not to talk for 30 fucking minutes. Stephanie McMahon.
Sometimes some of these guys talk the same way they have matches, which is do a spot, plod very slowly to the next spot, and by the time you've done it, everybody's lost interest on the second or third spot.
Pretty much, yeah.
Exactly.
So, that's WWE right now. We're going to do some G1 Climax this weekend.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
At least cover, I would say, 2 days of it. I would say, Indeed.
Well, we watched the first day, so we're going to watch. There's 3 more days in English, and then there's not any more in English until the 11th of August, I believe.
We can knock some of it out of the dark. And we also have our Lucha Underground review coming up. So,
indeed.
Get ready for that.
Prepare your anus.
Well, I mean, it's not going in the anus.
Oh, prepare your ear holes
for
more of my dulcet tones.
Indeed. We're going in the ear hole, not the anus.
We're going in deep.
Anyways, until then, get off Byron's lawn.
I like it raw.